Websites. You gotta have one. And for many of you, I can appreciate that they are scary or intimidating, or if you have one right now, let's be honest, it might be a little bit of a hot mess, or you've committed the cardinal sin. You don't even know how to access your website. Some other person does it. I don't need to worry about it. Okay, hit pause on this video and get the reins of your website. Okay, this is like a public service announcement. But today in this video, in this spotlight, I am bringing in fellow member of the Marketing Clarity community, Gavin Reynoldson, and he has a marketing agency, and they help small businesses with their websites. So I wanted to bring him in because he also has a super unique but super powerful website builder. And I wanted to show this to you because I know we've talked with a fellow member from Wiki Design. They do WordPress. Gavin also does WordPress. Listen, I love both these guys. And so I bring them both to you because every client I've ever talked to has needed a refresh, a rebuild, or a website. So I bring these both to you so that you can have options. Gavin is awesome. Mark and Barbara are awesome. And they might be different. One might fit for you and one might. I want to give you options, but options that are both awesome agencies, great people, and super talented. So with that, I want to bring in Gavin.
Hello.
How's it going, buddy?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for making the time being here. So,
no problem.
Let's talk a little bit. Give me the 1,000-foot view, right? Who are you? What does GenUp do?
Sure. So I'm Gavin. I'm based in the UK, and so GenUp Digital is a web design company. I started about seven or 8 years ago, and I started out of frustration from working with another web design agency.
That's
I
funny.
paid them a lot of money to build me a complex site, and they handed me some trash. Basically, it didn't work. It didn't function. I spent tens of thousands of pounds. It was a disaster, basically. And I knew how to code. I'd learned how to code a little bit at uni, and I just thought the only way I'm going to fix this is if I do it myself, because I didn't have any more money. I'd spent all the money on this thing that didn't work. So that's really how I got into it. I started building my own platforms and building on it from there, and then offering that out as a service myself.
Isn't that the classic entrepreneurial thing? I saw a problem, so I worked to build a solution, right?
Yeah.
That's
exactly. I think that's. I think it's either that or you sort of sink. You're faced with a problem and an enormous mountain of debt in this situation, and a website that doesn't work. So you have to start swimming aggressively to get yourself out of the situation you're in. So that's where it progressed from. Starting with simple WordPress websites, and then eventually over the years you pick up clients with bigger requests or demands and building slightly bigger sites, and at the situation now where if we have a bigger site or a bigger project, we bring on board the consultants and freelancers that we need to support the build of the project. But equally we do smaller projects and work with freelancers and much smaller businesses and help them build sites themselves, essentially.
See, that's what I love about when we connected I want to say, well, we were introduced by a mutual friend, colleague, Jill, who, if you're watching this video and you're curious at all about SEO versus SEM, go check out her video inside of the Marketing Clarity community. It's just chock full of ads, knowledge stuff. But I love your approach, because I also work with solopreneurs, small business marketers, and so often they can't afford, nor do they need, the big agency to build their website, right? Oh, you need a website? That's a $50,000 project. It's like, excuse me? What? 50,000? Okay, that's my annual income. Okay, no, I can't afford that, right? And I think a lot of times what they need is a tool where they are also empowered to make edits and updates on their own. Small ones. Small to medium. I understand if you're like, listen, I want this super advanced animation thing like that. Maybe you need to bring in some help. But also, and we're going to show this today, maybe you don't. Because you have this website builder which really, I mean, it gives people the ability to make amazing looking websites, but also super functional, right?
Yeah, and I think you're right. And most people think they need an expensive, fancy website with lots of features that cost a fortune. And if you spend 50k on a site, you're going to make 50 million in your business. And what happens is you spend 50k on a site and you don't make any money in your business, because really the website isn't the thing that's making you money. It's your messaging and your branding and your positioning and how visible you are in the marketplace and all these other things. And actually, if you look at some very successful businesses, wherever you might be, you quite often find that they're absolutely killing it, but they've got a pretty basic website. And if you're selling a product or a service that people want, and you can drive them to your basic website or whatever you want to call it, your simple tool, then people will buy that product or service. So there's not very often is there a need for a very expensive or very fancy website. There is sometimes, your brand might need it, or you might need some features that are custom built that cost a lot of money. But for the majority of businesses, you want somewhere where you can present your business online that is functional and sells your products or services that doesn't break the bank.
It's the vehicle, right? Mm-hmm. And I say that metaphorically, right? But also, you think about it that way, it's not everyone needs a Ferrari. Like a Honda Civic can just as easily get me from here to the grocery store. And would I like to have a Ferrari? Sure. But does it make the most sense? Or could I get a Honda Civic today and then years later plan to get a Ferrari if things go well? Okay, great. I could do that. But I think but I also think a big issue for people just starting off is that, like a lot of things digital marketing, they don't know what they don't know. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know how much a website costs. $50,000, the first quote they get, it's like, all right, it must be how much it costs. And it's like, no. Websites do range a great deal. But this is also why I want to bring you to this audience, because just like website cost ranges a tremendous deal, quality also does too. And folks, what you're going to see here is GenUp and Gavin's website builder, but also it's we'll go through this a little bit, his plans, which I think are incredibly affordable for the solopreneur, the small business marketer, that kind of thing. So Gavin, with that, if you're ready, I'd love to jump right in to the tour of your website builder.
Okay, I shall share my screen. Okay,
so here we are. We're looking at, so this is like a kind of a live environment, right, on your website that someone could check out?
Yeah, so this is the GenUp Digital website. This is one of the landing pages for our website builder. So anybody that wanted to try it out and test it out, this is the page that they would come to, or visit the genupdigital.com website and click on website builder from there. But essentially from this page, you can gather some information about how the website builder works, typical kind of landing page, the tools that you'll get included within the website builder, some examples of some of the templates that you can use. Alternatively, you can build a template from scratch.
Can we stop? Hold on. I want to talk about templates real quick. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, if you're watching this and you need a website, you have a bad website, you want to refresh your website, don't run away from templates. Please don't believe that every single site is completely custom built, right? Templates are your friends. And that doesn't mean that you can't personalize a template, right, Gavin? I mean, it's a great place to start.
I actually think, and people will probably be shocked to hear this, I actually think a lot of agencies will take templates and edit the templates. And unless you specifically ask for a completely custom build, then probably agencies most often are taking a template and customizing it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. They're completely customizing it for your business. But absolutely 100% find a template that's been professionally designed, which matches your industry, your business, whatever it is you're trying to promote, and work from there, customize from that point. If you want to actually get started, what you're going to need to do is pick a template. So if we click on the Get Started button, it takes us through the templates page. And so here you can select from, there's over 100 different templates. So you can choose templates by industry, etc. And you can also choose blank templates. I think they're towards the bottom here. Now, if you really want to, and you think, you know what, I want to design this from scratch myself, then you can choose one of these empty flex templates or empty templates and build it from scratch. And that's fine if you've got a real eye for design. I think what most people find is they think they're going to build it from scratch and it ends up looking really naff. And you can often see those sites and you look at them and you think, oh God, what's happened there? So
the thing I like about templates too is you can usually go on a template and like set a color scheme or adjust the colors, but also they come with really thoughtful text and font pairings and things like that, which you can also change. But usually right out of the box, it's like, oh, these work together. This stuff works together.
Exactly. They've been designed by designers, so they work together really well. So you can see how these look on different devices just by clicking here. So you can see if it would look good on mobile, for example. Most visitors to your website these days will be visiting your website on mobile, so it's always nice to see how a site would look on mobile. And if you want to get started building with that template, you've got a couple of options. You can preview it, and it'll. I won't do it now, but it loads up an entire screen, so you can see this website on the entire screen. Or you can click Start Building and sign up, and get going. So once you
that's free, right? All of this, there's no cost to any of this. Is that correct?
And so at this point, no, there's no cost. So there's a 30-day free trial, and as long as you cancel before the end of the 30 days, there's no cost. So you can you can log in and try it out, and you can build your website for 30 days, edit it, update it, do what you want with it. And if at the end of the 30 days you think, you know what, I don't like this, you can just cancel. There's no charge. If you do want to go ahead with it, you can just launch it, and the payments start once you get started. But it gives you 30 days to play around with it and build it, which is nice.
Great.
So once you've signed up and etc., you'll get an email, and the email will give you access to the login here. So websitebuilder.genupdigital.com is where you would log in. So here in the dashboard, you're going to have the websites that you've signed up for. So ordinarily that would be one. So here you can see a list. I've got 14 on this list, but you're going to have one. So your one website's going to be on here, and you've got some options. You can play around with bits and bobs, etc. And up here you can see the stats for your website. So let's say it's a few months down the line, your website's doing well, and you want to see how many people are visiting your website, etc. This kind of thing. Then you can see analytics essentially for your website. Data,
this is great right out of the box for those of you who maybe are intimidated or don't know much about even Google Analytics. At least you're getting something to start with. But I'm sure, Gavin, without getting into like way into the weeds, that any of these sites, right, you could also add on Google Analytics, things like that.
Yeah, you can. So you can add code to the header. I'll show you how to do that in a second. And so you can link up those things as well if needs be. Not a problem.
But it's out of the box. It's ready for you guys. Like,
out of the box, it's awesome. Good to go. So let's pick one of these websites. So let's say this plumbing website, and click over here to edit.
It's very interesting. I feel like I'm getting an insight into all of your potential side hustles. You're going to sell cosmetics. You're going to be a plumber.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. I've got a plumbing business. I'm doing it all. So what's happened here in this instance is somebody signed up and they've picked the plumbing template. It's already designed. It's a beautifully designed template. So it's good to go. The pages are complete. There's multiple pages, and it's designed for mobile, so it's responsive as well. Now, of course, if this is your own business, there are things like branding that you're going to need to change, the logo, the wording, the copy. You may or may not want to change the images, and obviously the services that you provide. But structurally, it's all there. You're essentially good to go with this, and it's a very, very easy to use, very intuitive website builder. Across the top here, you can click and view the website on different devices. You've got information across the top here, which you probably won't need to play around with. You can preview the site, edit the code if you need to, although the whole point is that you don't play with any code on website builders, so it makes it nice and easy for you. But the key area for you is here on the left-hand side. These are the tools that you're going to use to edit your website. And there's two ways you can go about this. First option is if you want to change an area on the site, it's a really simple drag and drop setup. So if I wanted to change the text here, I can click on the box and
it's right there.
Delete, or just type in and it's good to go. You get an additional sort of drop down bar with settings. You can change the font, the size, the type of heading, colors, etc., realign the text. So you've got some options there. And you can do that throughout the site. By clicking on anything, you can edit those sections.
That's awesome.
So it's very, very easy to use.
Yeah, super easy. And this is you may, if you're watching this, you may not have ever heard of this, but I believe a common, like a WYSIWYG site, right? It's kind of what you see is what you get. And it makes it very easy if you're not a designer, if you're not a coder. Like, you see what it is, you click it, you can change it, you see the changes, you preview or publish them, right? It's that easy.
Exactly right. Yeah, and so you can, what you see is what you get. It's a WYSIWYG editor on all of the pages, and you just go through and make these edits. Now, you might decide that actually structurally you want to add things in or take things out or build additional pages, which you can do. And so if you don't want to just edit the existing content on the page, then you can add in new elements or edit elements with the features over here. So there's lots of features to play with, but they're, again, very easy to use. So you can change the text throughout the entire site in one go, and you can do that
really
for different headings.
One click, change all headings to look like this, right?
Yeah.
Then
so
you're not going in.
Now, I don't know if your users are aware, but there's something called Google Fonts. And Google Fonts is essentially a big list of fonts that Google provide and make available that you can use on your websites. I think there might be over 100 Google fonts, and they're all included in this. So you get access to these Google fonts in here, and you can select from this big list of Google fonts. Sometimes people want to choose a fancy font, and they look for it, and they find they have to pay for that font. And you can upload custom fonts if you want. There is an option to upload custom fonts. But custom fonts are usually really expensive, and there are so many Google fonts to choose from. You're usually sorted in that respect. So you can change the global text. You can change the color of buttons globally throughout the site. Same for images, the style of images, the site background, the site layout, etc. I mean, I won't go through every single option. There's thousands of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Very easy to use. You can add in new pages, and so we click on pages. This essentially provides us with the layout for the menu. So you think, well, how do I change this menu up here? Well, we can create a new page, and then that page appears in the menu here. We can then edit that page by clicking on the little icon here, and we get more options. So we can decide to hide it from the navigation. So you might want a new page, but you don't want that page to be visible on the nav menu at the top here. Otherwise, you'll have thousands of links across the top here and you don't want them showing. You can do SEO on the individual pages. You can change the URL, etc.
And this is something I just want to stop real quick. We have a shared, I was going to say love, maybe that's too strong, but like affinity for SEO. And another reason why I feel so confident recommending Gavin to you guys if you're looking for a website is because Gavin is also very knowledgeable in SEO. And so I feel very comfortable. You work with him, you're going to get a site that, again, looks great, functions, but also he's going to put on that SEO hat a little bit, and he's aware of those things that can positively impact and negatively impact. And that's really important. That's an extra feather in the cap if you can get it from your web site provider, designer, developer.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really key. The number of times websites are built with no thought on how that website is going to acquire traffic, and SEO is absolutely essential for that. Particularly if you're a smaller business looking for clients in the local area, local SEO is really key. Otherwise, your website just sits there and it's hidden away and no one ever finds it.
That's right.
So it's a bit like building a business. I always think it's a bit like building a business in a huge forest.
Yeah.
And not having any signposts to the business and just expecting people are going to somehow come and find you.
Why
Essentially, that's what you're doing.
Showing up? What?
Yeah,
the
exactly
heck?
what you're going to do. If you just build a website and expect people to turn up, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can edit elements of SEO for each page. There's lots of different options for that. Again, technical stuff, etc. But there are options to do so. For each page, you can again, this is a bit technical, a bit boring, but so the header is essentially the bit of the website that loads first, and often it's where you put certain bits of code, tracking codes, Google Analytics codes, etc. So you can put that in here as well.
This would be Google Analytics. It could be
Exactly,
Facebook
yeah.
Pixel. It could be your Google
Pixel.
Ads tracker. A number of different things. If you don't know what this is, that's okay. You just need to know that it's here.
It's here, and usually this is something someone would say, well, can I do this? And you say, yep, and it goes in here, and it's very easy to find. Whereas if you've got a WordPress build, absolutely you can do these things, but it's much harder to find where you put code into a header on a WordPress build. So people often end up getting someone else to do it for them. Pop out of this and show you here. There are also many apps which you can use to enhance the features of the website. And one of the ones I just wanted to mention is here. So is a membership app. So if you wanted to turn your website into a membership website, or at least offer features, and what I mean by that is offer features whereby people can access most of the pages on your website, but actually some of the content is behind a password or a paywall. Maybe they have to pay to access it. Maybe they need a password, to get in, hidden content, etc. You can do that, and you can restrict access to. You might say, well, everybody can look at these pages except this page, and I'm going to restrict access, and you have to have a membership, etc. So there's lots of options in that respect. I love these as well. Pop-ups. You can whole range of pop-ups that you can add.
Yeah, I gotta say too, guys, you need to understand that a lot of these features are things that you can do on other websites. As someone who has a WordPress site, and that my site's WordPress, you can do these things. But sometimes you're having to pay for an extra service to do them, right? Like
exactly, yeah,
pop-ups, things like that. Maybe you're having to pay for opt-in Monster or something else, where this provides it right out of the box.
Yep. You just click and add the text, add the images, set some rules, whatever it is you need, and you're good to go. It's very, very easy to excuse me, very easy to set up. Next, you've got your widgets, and there are so many of these. There's a whole list of things. If you want to add text or images to the pages that aren't already on there, you can do so. Phone calls, different columns, all the usual boring bits and bobs, media options, before and after images, audio. This is really nice for local businesses. Lots of business information you can add. So if you're a restaurant, you can add an open table booking form, so you can book with your restaurant straight away. You can take payments via PayPal, reviews via Yext or Google Calendar or Yelp reviews, etc. And of course your social media stuff as well. So there's lots and lots of options for adding advanced features to your website, and you literally just click on it and drag it over and dump it into the website. That's how
awesome.
That's how easy it is. We've also got these really cool rules, so you can set up personalization rules which only activate when a particular a particular event has taken place. So let's say,
I like that returning visitor one. That's interesting.
Exactly. So if somebody's visited your site once and then they come back to visit your site again, you can have a message that pops up and says, "Hey, Bob, I see that you've come back to our site. Would you like to do X, Y, and Z?" Or first-time visitor, "Hey, you've not visited our site before. Perhaps you'd like to, check these things out." And there's even location-based stuff. So if you have like a physical store, you could have a rule which would attract potential people in your area. I mean, there's lots of others as well, but these are really great. Lots and lots of options for personalizing how people interact with your site, which again, brilliant.
And I really like they're just turnkey. They're here, right? There's not that
yes.
I need to know how to very complicatedly figure out how to build this. No, they're there. You plug in your little aspects of some personalization, and you're ready to go.
A couple of options for, I know people like to take payments on their websites, and there's a few different options here. If you're going, as basic as you want to go, then you can add a PayPal button and it links to your own PayPal account and you can take payments that way. If you want to be a little bit more advanced and actually have payments integrated into your website, there's an e-commerce option, and you just need to add an e-commerce store. It's a little bit more expensive to add the e-commerce store, but it allows you to add the store if you want to sell products and or take payments on your website.
In your experience, I have a question for you about the e-commerce piece. Let's say you want to start off and you're like, I may not be ready for e-commerce. You make your site, and then let's say 6 months down the line, you're like, okay, I want to start selling this stuff online. Is that easy to then just implement kind of at any time?
Yeah. So if you decide, I think I'm going to add some, e-commerce features to my site now, then you would just, get started. It gets added to your store, and then it's a case of building out your products or services or whatever it is you're deciding to sell. So you see, I've clicked on Get Started.
Does it create a separate URL, like a store dot or something like that?
No, so it's integrated into the same site. So it's just finished. And look, you can see under here it's added store.
Love it.
As one of the menu items. So it'll be part of the same website, and you can change the URL name here. So it wouldn't be a separate subdomain. It would be on the main site.
I just want to stress though, that's really nice. I've dealt with some clients
so
who
to add.
have non-e-commerce, then they go e-commerce, and the challenge is they create like a whole different site. And from an SEO perspective, that's not ideal. You lose all the juice, if you will, from your site traffic already.
Exactly.
And you're starting from scratch.
Exactly, and this is brilliant. This is all integrated into your site, and it gives you a nice walkthrough as well. So it asks you to set up your store. It tells you you're 20% of the way there, and you work your way through the steps to get that sorted. And then you have an additional menu for the store. So previously we were over here on the left, and now we've got this additional store menu where we can monitor everything. We can add products and catalogs. We can look at orders and how many abandoned carts we've had or subscriptions, etc. It has all of the features that you would have on any other e-commerce store. You can connect it up to your social media accounts, take different forms of payment. You can ship products to people and track those products. I mean, there are many excellent options on here. For your e-commerce store. Now, I've not set one up. I'm not gonna build one.
We're not gonna go through all that right now.
Take too long. But here's an example.
For his plumber side business, this guy over here.
Exactly. So this is a plumber that's actually selling sports stuff as well. Sports bras. Selling sports bras to his plumbing clients.
Quite an undertaking you're doing here, Gavin. I'm very impressed.
But you can, so you can, add your products, add your images. It's a really lovely.
It's awesome.
Easy to use setup here.
Love it. I know we could spend probably an entire hour in here.
Yes.
But it's just super powered.
Very easy to use. And then, of course, you've got a blog. Every good website should have a blog. So you've got the main blog page. You can add blog posts. You can manage the posts. You can play around with the settings. There's more SEO options, etc. And you can edit the posts individually as well. So, for example, you might want to play around with the metadata, which is the kind of stuff that you'd be focusing on for SEO.
Love it.
So, plenty of options there. Set your blog up. Let's have a look. So you can just click on these actual links, and it takes you to the additional pages. So you can see they're all set up.
Here's the thing. This is, again, I hate to keep hitting on it, but I want people to understand, like, when you use a template, your site's like 70% there. You're, if not more, maybe 80%. The work is done for you.
Yep.
And
it's there. It's good to go. I think we're all. This happens to all of us. I think you have a business, or you start a business, and you have a vision in mind, and the problem is the template perhaps doesn't quite meet that vision. So then you think, well, I must need a custom build. But really, if you just make some customizations to the template, it probably will hit the mark. And will probably look a lot better than if you did it yourself.
And can we also talk about this, right? I want to talk about, it is not permanent. That doesn't mean that I want you to settle. But what it does mean is that you can have something much faster, that looks very professional, that is on brand, that is super functional. You can get all that, again, much faster with a template. And it's not permanent. It means that maybe 6 months down the road, you do a little more work. You get a more comfortable with the platform. You kind of start to hone your own branding a little more, particularly if you're just getting started. If we were to look back, and I'm speaking from my own experience, at my website when I launched my company 5 years ago to now, it's so different. And that's a normal, okay thing. It doesn't have to be permanent, right? The first thing out of the gate.
I think it changes over time. And I think probably also key to recognize is that, and people don't want to hear this, I suppose, but actually it might not work out. So do it in stages. Or what often happens is there's a change in direction. You build the first site, and then you start to realize that actually your business name needs to change, or you're actually selling a slightly different product or service, and everything starts to shift. you're starting to have to push off in a different direction, and that means your site needs to change again. And how you are now is, like you say, very different from how you're going to be in 5 years' time.
Yeah, my services, that was the biggest thing about my site, is my services have changed so much in 5 years. I was doing every digital marketing thing under the sun when I started. And over time, I chiseled away. I started doing less and less. And that was intentional. That was on purpose, because that's what I wanted to do. And that's what those are the different clients I wanted to serve. And that transformed my website over the 5 years that I've been doing it, to the point where whenever my wife would ask me, like, what are you working on, or what's going on? I was like, oh, and I'm like, redoing the website. She's like, okay, that's a lost weekend where you're just in front of the computer forever and you're annoyed because something breaks and then you got to figure it out and that kind of thing. That's the other thing I love about this, is that there's minimal chances, opportunities for you to break something.
So I think in the first instance, you've got to ask yourself, do I want to invest the time? Because it's not really going to be money in this first instance of building it yourself. It's not particularly expensive to build it yourself in terms of a monthly or annual spend, but you do have to invest time. So have you got the time to spend a few days or a few weeks building out the website for your business, or even in the first 30 days of your free trial? And if you want to do that, then great. There's a number of different options, and you can see they're all relatively cheap depending on what you're looking to achieve. Sort of 10, these are in pounds, not dollars, so it's 10 to 28 pounds a month if you pay annually, or I think it's maybe 15 pounds to 35 pounds a month if you pay monthly. And it's a rolling contract, so if you decide, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, you can just cancel. And if you're in the US, there wouldn't be any VAT to pay either. Okay.
Just to be clear, you have no issue. You work with people in the U.S. I want to tell people watching this.
Yeah, we have clients in the U.S. Absolutely, yeah. And so, you can see it's nice and cheap, and you can just crack on with that, and you can build it yourself, and you can see the features listed in the table here, so you can make a decision as to what would work for you, and you can also upgrade in the future. You might decide to go with the basic option and then add on e-commerce features. I think the one thing I would point out, and this is a thing that people ask a lot, if you go for the basic option here, and you want to take payments on your website, the only way you can do that is to have a PayPal button on the site, which then links to your PayPal account. But if you actually want customers to make proper payments in your site and be connected to PayPal and Stripe and any other payment processor, the only way to do that is to set up the e-commerce store. Now, you don't necessarily have to build out a full e-commerce store with lots of products, etc. But the payment feature, the payment processor, is built into this option.
Got it. Good to know.
So that's one option. And then the other option is something we have called a one-day website. And so the one-day website is where we build out your website for you based on the information you provide us and the template that you've chosen, and we have a discussion in advance. So we'll have a video call, and we'll find out about you and your business, and we'll get together the copy and the content, the images, your logo, branding, designs, etc., whatever you already have. And over one day, we will build out that website for you. So that's a really quick and easy way of getting us to build the website for you and for you to get a website up and running straight away. So there's a couple of options there. Build it out yourself for free for 30 days and see how you get on. Or if you haven't got the time to do that, you can get us to build it for you, and it's good to go in one day. So it's a simple way of getting your business online very quickly.
I also just want to say, just to bring it up, we went through this builder today in this video. You guys also do WordPress sites. So if you're someone in the know enough that's like, I absolutely need or want a WordPress site, that kind of thing, you are an option there. right? I just want to bring that up also. That's correct?
Yeah, of course. I mean, so this, I think when anybody wants a website, it would always be a case of having a discussion and finding out, what do they want it to do? What's the purpose? Who's the audience? What's the budget? Why do they need it to do what they need it to do? And sometimes the conversation leads to the fact that, well, in that instance, you are going to need a WordPress website or another platform, but we deal with WordPress. And so, yes, WordPress is an option there as well, absolutely. And we do completely custom built WordPress websites if you've got a much larger budget, and we also do templated WordPress websites for more simpler builds.
I just want to stress, guys, if you don't know, don't just come in necessarily being like, I need a WordPress site or I need this site. Like, I would say talk through, whether it's with Gavin or anyone else that you may be talking about with your website, talk through exactly what you need your site to do. And, I would say get a professional assessment from them to say that can be accomplished in this platform or this platform or this platform, right? Like, because I think a lot of people think they need a WordPress site, but they don't know why. They just say that because that's what they've been told, or they think, I don't want a WordPress site. And, so I would just say you should be able to have that conversation with whoever your web designer, developer is. So just to wrap up, Gavin, where can someone go that watched this video to contact you, to work with you? Where do we send them?
So if you go to the GenUpDigital.com website and then click on the contact button, contact page, or even if you go to the GenUp Digital website, there's the live chat. So you can send a message on the live chat, or you can contact us on the contact page or send an email. Lots of different options, but if you get in touch, then we can answer your questions for you. Just to double down on what you were saying, I think a good web designer or agency or whoever you're speaking to, they won't try and sell you their product. They will try and identify what your needs are, and then they might say to you, look, I think you'd be better off going with this option, and that might not be working with them, with us, with me, but at least you're getting the right platform. So if somebody's saying to you, oh, you absolutely have to have our service, then it might be worth speaking with other agencies first and getting some second opinions. Tread
carefully sometimes with those. I mean, I would say I turn away a lot of business because, to be honest with you, I know my true north and I know how I help people and the people I can help. And sometimes that means I'm not the best fit. And just like I said at the beginning of this video, that's why I want to present you guys with multiple website options, right? Gavin might be a great fit, Wiki Design. I want to give you guys options because I don't want you to go out there into the unknown digital space and, quite frankly, get the wool pulled over your eyes by someone that I don't trust, I haven't worked with, or I feel like is a little sketchy. So with that, I want to wrap up the video. Gavin, thank you so much, man, for taking the time today. I really appreciate it. If you're in need for a new website, a better website, whatever the case may be, GenUp Digital, go check them out. And of course, you can also message him inside the Clarity community if you like. And I'll be putting this video in there and links to everything in there. So Gavin, again, just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.